What would you do if your husband's mother had controlled every aspect of your life together for years, and he just let it happen? In today's story, a new mother finally reaches her breaking point and issues an ultimatum that will either save her marriage or end it for good. For those who didn't see my first post, the backstory is that my husband, Liam, completely ruined my very first Mother's Day. But after sitting down with him this weekend, I realized that single day wasn't the real problem. No, that was just the last straw that finally broke me. The two of us sat down, the air thick with unspoken tension, and I finally let it all out. I told him how incredibly upset and disappointed I was, not just about Mother's Day, but about Father's Day too. I had wanted so badly to celebrate him as a new dad, just as much as I hoped he would celebrate me as a new mom. He tried to explain his side of the Mother's Day disaster. He said he knew he shouldn't have gone to his parents' house, but his mom, Brenda, was pressuring him. She'd laid this massive guilt trip on him, saying that if his dad got hurt doing some chore, it would be Liam's fault for not being there. He looked at me, his eyes filled with a fear I hadn't seen before, and admitted he knew he'd messed up badly. He confessed he'd been terrified for a week that I was going to ask for a divorce. Since he cut right to the chase, I didn't sugarcoat it. If this is how our life is going to be, I said, my voice shaking a little, then I don't want to stay married to you. I explained that the real issue wasn't one ruined holiday. The real issue was his mother's behavior, which has been escalating since before we even got engaged. This has been going on for years. As one of you suggested in the comments on my last post, I had actually made a list of every time Brenda had overstepped or completely ruined something for us. This revealed Brenda's greatest fatal flaw, her narcissistic need to be the center of every major life event, a trait that was now threatening to tear her son's new family apart. I brought up our honeymoon. Our freaking honeymoon. She called him twice a day, every single day. Every morning, she'd call to find out our plans, and every evening, she'd call for a full report on how the day went. And that doesn't even cover the constant texting, her asking for pictures, and telling Liam how much she missed him. How did I ever think that was acceptable? She tried to make our wedding about her, my pregnancy about her, and she tried to take over the second we brought our son home. It's a constant pattern of her inserting herself and overstepping every boundary. We were both crying by this point, the raw emotion of years of resentment finally out in the open. I told him, I don't actually want a divorce right now, but I know it's going to happen eventually if things don't change. I'd rather do it now while we can still be amicable for our son's sake. I couldn't bear the thought of our divorce being ugly and contentious, but that's where we were heading if I let my anger and resentment continue to build. Every time we've fought about this before, he's promised to change, and sometimes, for a little while, he does, but then Brenda pulls him right back into her orbit. So I gave him my ultimatum. I told him he had some time to decide what he was going to do, but if I don't see clear, consistent, and continuous effort to prioritize me and our son, I'm moving forward with the divorce. And to make it crystal clear what that effort looks like, I laid out my new terms for this marriage. I took a deep breath and said, if we are going to stay married, these are the new rules. They are not negotiable. First, we each own the relationship with our own parents. That means I am done planning things for your family. No more cards, no gifts, no brunches, no parties, no sending pictures, nothing. From now on, if your parents want to know something or need something, they talk to you. If they reach out to me, I'm redirecting them to you. Second, I am no longer entertaining or visiting your parents when you're not there. I will not take our son to their house by myself. And if they just drop by unannounced, I'm not inviting them in unless you are home. Third, my plans, and our son's plans, are no longer disposable. I will not change them at the last minute just because your parents decided to show up without coordinating with us first, or because they suddenly want us to do something with them. Fourth, neither of us makes any plans with our parents or accepts invitations without discussing it with each other first. If we don't both agree, then the answer is no, and we will present a united front. We don't throw each other under the bus. We just say, we checked our schedule and we're not available. Fifth, major holidays that are about our son, like his first birthday, which I know your mom is already trying to plan, happen at our house. Christmas, Halloween, Easter, all of it. We can discuss inviting our parents, but we are not going to someone else's house to celebrate our own son's milestones. For other holidays, We will alternate between families. And when we are with my parents, you will be present. No more constant texting and talking to your mom the whole time. 6th, the oversharing stops. Brenda does not need to know about our finances, our health issues, our vacation plans, or anything else unless we both explicitly agree to share it. 7th, your visits to your parents cannot come at the expense of our family time. I don't mind you visiting them, but you're over there a couple of times a week. We are your immediate family now. We come first. 8th, we are not doing things or changing our plans just because Brenda thinks we should or because she doesn't like our way. She has to understand that different is not the same thing as wrong. In her mind, if we aren't doing exactly what she wants, how she wants it, we're in the wrong. That ends now. 9th, you need to be in therapy with someone who specializes in enmeshment. And we need to start couples therapy. I didn't even realize how much resentment I have bottled up. I'm just angry at you all the time. And I hate being this way. I can't even look at you the same anymore. 10th, when it comes to our son, our word is law. If Brenda disregards or minimizes a decision we make for him, she loses access to him until she learns to respect our rules. And finally, when either of us says no to our parents, the other backs them up. No questions asked. That means you have to stop trying to mediate and get me to agree with your mom all the time. I could see on Liam's face that he was completely freaked out. He was stressed just at the idea of putting these hard boundaries in place with his parents. He said he feels like he's caught between a rock and a hard place, with me on one side and his mom on the other, both putting a ton of pressure on him with conflicting expectations. As some wise commenters pointed out, there is no such thing as being in the middle in a healthy marriage. Liam felt he was being pulled in too, completely unaware that he was choosing to stand in that vulnerable spot. His choice wasn't between his wife and his mother. It was between building a future or clinging to the past, and he was quickly running out of time to decide. I told him I understood his position, but that my tolerance for it was gone. As another commenter smartly suggested, I added a timeline. I need to see progress. I said, by September, I expect us to have had at least one couples counseling session, and for you to have had 2 individual sessions. And we are taking a family trip, just the 3 of us, with no interruptions. If things haven't tangibly improved by the new year, I'm calling a lawyer. I know this will cause an absolute firestorm with his parents, but if we don't do this now, it will only get harder and our marriage will be the casualty. The story is a powerful reminder that building a new family sometimes means drawing hard lines with the old one, and that true partnership means standing together, not stuck in the middle. Chloe laid out a comprehensive plan to save her marriage, but the real work is just beginning. What do you think is the single most important boundary she set? And do you think Liam has what it takes to enforce it?